Hey everyone, welcome to the first ever episode of Fridays with the Boys. I'm Eagle Memes, and I just wanted to record this little intro to thank you all for supporting my account and supporting the content I create. And I sincerely hope that you enjoy this first episode, and I look forward to making more in the future. But without further ado, please welcome Fritzy-Klevans Destine, the talented actor who plays young Black Noir in The Boys Season 3.
Hey, listen, man. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be the first person on your podcast. You know what I'm saying? It seems like you're very eager for it and you have a big love for it. Like I see you making all of the art on the page, and it's always amazing. I remember I think you made a sticker for me on.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Instagram interactive stickers, yeah.
No, that's
I'm,
pretty dope because that's the only sticker that I have on Instagram right now. It's made by you, so I always use it whenever I put up stories and stuff like that. But it's super dope. You're very good at what you do.
yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm planning to make a few more stickers as well, just try and get as many as I can out. Yeah, quite a few have started using them now. It's starting to pick up on because I use a website called Giphy to make them, and it's kind of started to pick up like the views on it. So yeah, should probably start making some more. So yeah, again,
Go
thank you
crazy.
for coming on. I'm very honoured to have you here and be able to talk to you.
Appreciate that, man.
I'm a very big fan of the show, as you probably noticed with the whole Instagram account for it.
Of
So
course.
we'll get right into the questions. So obviously you play Black Noir in the show, a younger version of Black Noir. What was it like to take on such a role, such a different version of the character? Because obviously Black Noir's a character who doesn't speak. He's very isolated, as you see him like in the present. So what was it like to like form the younger version of himself? Like get that personality. Was it something you spoke about with like Nate Mitchell, who plays?
So yeah, it was challenging because at first they made it seem so insignificant, like, oh, it's just this really small thing. And then they had so much
Yeah,
more for me to do after, which is like the animated scenes, and then they wanted us to do like an action scene and stuff like that, a whole bunch of stuff that didn't necessarily make the cut. But my biggest worry was that I had to connect this person that I was building to the actual Noir who's on the show most of the time, and it was really challenging because it was like, okay, I have to fit stuff in here that people go, oh, okay, so that's where that started, and that's where that comes from, and that's why he thinks like this, right? And a lot of the script helps me out with that because Eric Kripke is really good at what he does, but it's also having to be creative myself and bring something to it that can help Nathan out in the future, or can help the character out in the future and make sense of things. So it was really about sitting down and going, okay, so how can I make this scene something that enlightens people about the character in the future and adds to him and makes him more special, right? And that was a challenge for sure. I didn't really get to speak to Nathan until like the day I started shooting a lot of the stuff, so I never got to get too much insight. But from what I had done, he seemed to be very happy with it. He seemed to like, oh, that makes sense. I see it there. And there are even some things, like I said, not everything made the cut, sadly. There was a moment, like for example, in season one of The Boys, there's that moment where Homelander's like kind of scolding the whole team, and then he looks at Noir and he goes, "No, you're great. Don't worry, you're doing fine."
yeah,
And I tried to add something there in season three, so it was like there's that moment where Payback gets introduced, and Soldier Boy is with Crimson Countess, right? But he starts hitting on Mallory, and I had a moment in there where I kind of like did the thing where I'm like, right, and I wanted
yeah,
to. It's all right. So it's like even that, like they kind of thought that was super funny, but we had to make sure that the runtime was within an hour because a lot of times the episodes end up being 110 or 120, and they can't have it be that long because it's a movie at that point.
yeah.
So there's
We
so
wish it
much
could be
like
that long, but
so do I, because it's like I remember there's a whole action sequence that was at least like 5 minutes long, where it's like basically Noir like killing a whole bunch of people, but then they had to shorten it, so you just see me like slicing people for like a couple seconds.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, that's the thing. So there's a lot of shows that don't have enough material for the episode. This is the one show that like does so much and has so many ideas that like they can't actually put it onto the like all the episodes at once, which is too bad. But you get blooper reels, and that's when you find out about all. So to answer your question, very challenging but very exciting, and I was very honored to be able to add to that character in a special way.
yeah. I think most people agree that your portrayal of a young Noir it added a lot of depth to the character and it made him a lot more relatable because it was already a fan favorite, but I think your performance added a lot to that. Because I think from season 3, a lot more people were starting to understand Noir, because you see a lot into his backstory, especially with the animated stuff showing him and Soldier Boy's relationship. So, talking about like characters on the show, if you could have a crack at playing any other character on the show, who do you think who would be your pick to play?
Honestly, that's a good question. I would probably have to say, like, A-Train seems like a character that I really think I would change him a lot, but not in the sense of like obviously what Eric does with everything. It's more so how he acts and how he would do. Every actor approaches every role, or at least I believe that they should, adding some of themselves to them because it makes it seem more natural. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
even with Noir, I tried to add my own, a lot of myself into him. But one I'd be excited to try and want to see like what I could do would probably be Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got a lot going on there. He's got a lot going on with Soldier Boy, and I feel like there's still a lot to figure out with him too. Like, they go into his past a little bit, but you never see any of it, right? You got to see Noir's past, you got to see what it was like, but you never got to see, although he talks about it a lot, you never see him grow up. You never see him go through these phases in time where like he's turning into this person and like how he hated himself before, but he became someone that he thought was worthy of his father's love and still never got it. So I'd love to give a crack at that and then see, what I could add to it and how he would look like from my lens, from like my own life perspective.
Yeah, especially a show like The Boys, I'd say like almost all the characters have just something like, just to give an example, like Homelander. I've never seen a character with so many like layers to him, because he's obviously got the front of him being like the world's greatest superhero. Everyone loves him and he loves everyone. And then there's the other side where he's really isolated, alone, like with the mirror scene where he's talking to himself. He truly has, I think you could say that about every character. Each character, I would say, deserves their own little spin-off, because there's that much to talk about with them and show.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Yeah, I hope they go into Soldier Boy's character more, and I hope they go into our characters more. There's a lot of room to mess with that, and I know that like because the show has become such a huge success that like they've got I think it's Varsity, or is it Gen V now, right?
Gen V, yeah.
They're doing new things, right? And I hope that like especially with everyone asking for they want to see more Payback and stuff. I hope we get the opportunity to show that at some point in the future. But yeah, no, definitely would have to give it a try with Soldier Boy. Nice.
So how does a show like The Boys, how does it compare to working on shows like Superman and Lois? Because you play Sean Smith in the show Superman and Lois, which is very good. It's one of the top superhero shows currently running at the minute, I would say, along with The Boys. So how does The Boys compare? Because they're obviously very different.
Yes. Yeah, they are definitely very different. One is like basically geared towards like more like 14, 15, 20, and then the other one is geared much more towards like 18 and women. I would say with Superman and a lot of CW shows, actually, the way they structure things is very like as they go at times. Right, they'll have like an overall idea, right? But they'll change a lot in between. So like as an actor, like things can get changed like a week before, 2 weeks before, and then you're like, okay, gotta adjust and gotta change that. With The Boys, at least from my experience, they gave me the script like I think 5 or 6 months before, and it barely changed. And they like already knew what they wanted to do and what it was gonna look like, and I really didn't see any changes whatsoever. So I guess with a CW show or Superman and Lois, it's an as they go kind of thing. So like I gotta pay attention to the dailies and like see what they're changing in the script. But with The Boys, it was like, oh no, we're doing this. Not much is changing. At least not for me. I know that some actors, like I know Mother's Milk, like in a lot of his scenes, he would show up, and I think he was saying that like he'd be surprised by some of the stuff he could see because he wasn't there before. But for me, it was straightforward. Everything was the same. Everything was very organized. So yeah.
Well, I'm currently at university working on film production, and with that comes acting as well, because obviously with my peers, I need to work on their films, acting, and to help them out, and they need to help me, and some are wanting to get into acting professionally. So, what would you say the best and worst advice that you've ever been given and what you would pass on to up and coming actors?
Uh, okay, so worst advice? I wouldn't know. I'll be honest with you. I've been blessed with some pretty great coaches in my lifetime. I've been blessed with people who taught me. And to be honest, I guess I hope this isn't a cop-out answer, but I guess there really isn't a bad advice because it varies from person to person. Because to one person, some advice can really enlighten them and completely give them a different perspective on acting. And to another, it's like it makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
But I definitely have some of the best advice I've ever been given. One of my coaches, his name is Stephen Roberts. He is an amazing actor, but especially he gave me this one note because we were having this mental block on this one audition. I forgot what it was, and he looked at me. I guess it was actually one for like playing a character who was kind of like a gangster, but like very intense kind of guy. And I kept trying to act it, right? And he was just like, no, you don't do that. He's like, he sat me down and he said, just understand that you're the most comfortable person. And he said, sometimes stillness is way more powerful than any kind of movement you can do because people have to wonder why you're so comfortable, right? So instead of being like this all the time, it's more just like looking at the camera and being fucking comfortable, not doing anything. That makes people go, what is he thinking about? What is he about to do? And I'm sure Homeland has a lot of moments like that where he kind of just like stands and like breathes and thinks. And there's something psychotic going on in his head right now. You have to wonder what he's going to do next, which makes him
the worst part, not knowing what's behind those eyes.
What he's going to do, yeah, all the time. Same thing with Noir. Noir also has the fact that he has a mask on. And although Homelander can see, he says you can see, I can see through what you're doing. Everybody else has no idea what Noir is up to thinking, ever, which makes him scary. Even though you find out he's a very sensitive, humane character, right?
Yeah, just to move away from the boys and acting in general, I just wanted to ask, like, what kind of stuff do you do in your spare time? Do you have any hobbies? What do you like to do?
Well, most of the time, I'm big on video games. Like, I love video games.
Oh.
Right, which sounds like a typical answer, but it's like, I guess to me, it's more like the art of video games. I don't really play too many, but it's mainly just like I love like analyzing graphics. I used to before I got into acting, my goal was to be a programmer. So when I see like animation and art for like a game like The Last of Us, where like you see like the whole movement and how it connects with the other, like it's so technical and it's so like smart. So I love watching like or just playing video games and like seeing like how technology is moving forward and stuff like that. Another thing I like to do a lot is I go to the gym a lot. I'm big on fitness. I'm big on like cardio, pumping iron, stuff like that. So that's what I do whenever I have a lot of spare time. I've got a lot of friends I go to the gym with and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely the main one has got to be video games.
Yeah, what would you say your favorite game is to play?
To play or just in general?
Yeah, just in general. What's your favorite video game, would you say?
I think my favorite game of all time has got to be either Uncharted 4 or Uncharted 3.
That's a series I need to get into. I saw the movie, which I know a lot of people didn't like, but I enjoyed it. But I'm guessing that's because I've never played the game, so I didn't have that prior knowledge to what it was meant to be.
Yeah. So, those are some of the best games ever made. And like they remastered it recently, so you can like play it from like a brand new perspective. Like I don't know if you have PS5, PC,
Yeah, I'm quite basic. My favorite game is Minecraft.
No, it's a great game. Like that's because that game is what you make it, right? It's creative. Yeah. You can make your own fun. So that makes complete sense. But before that, I'd have to say my favorite game was Little Big Planet 2.
Oh yeah, that's a good game.
Which is like another make your own fun kind of game, but like
a sandbox into it.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular films or shows or actors that inspire you? Do you have any like role models in the industry?
Lately, I'd have to say Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, I'd have to definitely say Michael B. Jordan. For a long time, Denzel Washington. Right, and still very much so. It's just I respect actors who respect the craft, and Denzel is one person who really gets deep into it and likes to understand the person he's playing, and like also adds a lot of himself to the character to a point where it's almost like you can't tell them apart. So that's where I want to be eventually, right? And I'm just getting into that now, which is like really connecting a character to who I am, right? And making sure that when people see that character, they also see the bit of me in every scene, you know?
Yeah, I love the Creed movies because I'm a big Rocky fan.
Yeah.
I think that those movies were perfect way of like carrying on that legacy. And Michael B. Jordan, especially in that movie, it was probably my favorite part of it. Yeah.
That's dope, man. Yeah, he's a great actor, man. And they're like, and you know, definitely Chadwick Boseman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you know, people like to talk about Black Panther a lot, which is it definitely opened so many doors for people like me. But Chadwick himself, like, is such an inspiration just because of like how he carries himself. He's such a like a powerful person in the sense of like his adversity. Like you hear his story, like everything he went through in life. And despite that, he still made it to the top of everything. Like, you know, it's a very inspiring thing for me to see that, because it's like I come from like a place where it's like didn't really have too much. Life was pretty hard, you know what I'm saying? And I'm still not at a point where like I'm not rich, right? But I remember how it was before with me and how life was difficult before, like how things are moving forward and will move forward. And it's very exciting, and it's very inspiring to see people like myself who are also coming to a point where they can do well, can be comfortable, like choose what movies they want to be in, what they want to do, and where they want to live. You know?
What would you say your dream role would be?
Dream role, which is funny because I guess this is more of a pleasure one than it is like really deep.
Yeah.
Miles Morales was always my dream role. And you know, most people would probably say that, you know, but I've grown too old for it at this point. Like they'd have to go for someone who's like 19, 20, 18. And like now it's like, you know, like.
Well, never say never.
Oh no, well of course I never say never, but like I understand that like they're gonna want that actor to be in the role for like 10 years. Yeah. Right? So like that makes complete sense. But no, that's always been a character I've been very passionate about and always wanted to play eventually somehow, right? So.
Yeah. Did you play the Miles Morales game? The sequel to
I did.
This PS4 game, yeah.
It great game. Insomniac. Okay, so again on the video games, right? Insomniac, one of my favorite studios because like their tech and like what they do, like with what limited power they have in like consoles and stuff, it's incredible.
So I know we spoke about this earlier, and you said you might not be able to, but do you have any projects coming up? What you can talk about, maybe? Or...
So, you know, my agent's got like a red dot pointing at it right now, but I can't talk about any of the stuff. But like, yeah, I've been auditioning for quite a few things. That's all actors do. And like, you never really know because sometimes you hear about stuff like 8 months later after you did it. Yeah. So even if I technically had something, one, I could tell you, but two, I wouldn't know, really. You know what I mean? So, to be honest, I wouldn't say nothing solid right now is the best answer I can give.
Okay, yeah. I definitely look forward to see where you go, though, and see what you do in the future. Yeah.
Of course, I mean, you know, and I'm eager to see what happens, like, next, right? What's the next thing I get? You know what I'm saying? Because even when you could be almost slated for something, if something else comes up and it's sooner, like, and you know they get you on a solid contract, then that thing might not end up happening. So it's really like an actor's life is, man. I could get a call today and says, hey, for the next 6 months you're doing this, and then the answer that you put up today would be like irrelevant now because it wouldn't be true anymore. See what I mean? So it's like
yeah.
But for now, as of right now, nothing's solid yet.
This episode is sponsored by Octo Love, the new best-selling teen novel by The Deep.
You're a fan of The Boys, obviously, because you were in it and you watch it. Yeah. Do you have any theories for the next season? What you think might happen?
Honestly, I don't think it would be a fair answer because I kind of know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. So it's like I can't really guess too much because like me and Nathan are pretty close. So like, yeah, all I'll say is that it's absolutely going to get way crazier, as it always does. Eric is always
You don't think it can, but it definitely will.
It definitely will. You know, even with season 1, that first scene, episode 1, where you see the Deep, like, us all, basically Starlight, right? It's like you're
Yeah.
saying, what happens next? And then, you know what I'm saying? Then there's the airplane scene. You're like, okay, what happens next? And then so it just keeps getting crazier. And then season 3, episode 1, I don't know how they're going to top that, but I promise you they will. They're going to find a way to do it.
Yeah, that of all the scenes in the show, that scene from start of season 3 was
within the first 5
you wouldn't think, you didn't think they'd top the whale scene with the deep, but they did somehow.
You know, crazy story. I actually got put on this show by originally auditioning for Gen V. So the way it started was I was sent a character, which obviously I can't say anything about that, but I was sent a certain character for Gen V and auditioned for it, and they liked it, but they didn't think I was the guy. But then they were like, they noticed with Noir, it's like, oh, you're the same measurements. Oh, you're the same like height. And then they were just like, they like immediately were like, oh no. So they sent me the audition, and I sent it back, and then within like a day they were like, you're the guy. And I was like, oh, cool, dope. And then so it's like,
You're just meant to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's just funny because it's like, speaking of Gen V, I just realized, I'm like, oh yeah, I was like, you know, up for that one as well. But
yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I'm hoping to do a season 2 of Diabolical as well, the animated show, because that was very good. I really love animated stuff.
I mean, the team just in general, with everybody there, they love what they do. It's like everybody comes on set,
and we love what they do.
Absolutely, but it's like they're all excited to come to work every single day. They don't know what they're gonna see, and when they do know what they're gonna see, they're cringing because they're just like they know how fucked up it's about to be, right? And even we have a special effects team. I kind of want to shout them out, so I don't know if I can find their Instagram profile.
The VFX for the boys.
For the boys, they are absolutely incredible people.
Stephen Fleet, I've been following his work.
Yeah, Master FX1 on Instagram, but they are incredible. They have such a fun time. Like when they were doing like putting stuff on my face and everything, they thought it was hilarious. They were like adding all the little bits of burnt and we're just all cracking jokes and stuff. It's
I saw the pics on your Instagram with the burnt stuff. It's
intense.
The stuff that effects companies do is just like out of this world sometimes. It's surreal.
It's an honor to be on the show, and like I said, if they ever need me at any capacity in any other way at any point, I absolutely am always down to have a good time and like be a part of it, of course. And we'll see what happens next. But I appreciate the opportunity that I had on that show with everybody. Being like the only face Noir is basically gonna have, incredible, right? So I am absolutely down to be back in any capacity if they ever need me.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I have prepared. I want to make it a thing I do with this show. I've prepared a little quiz game. Top Gear, how they have the racetrack and the celebrities, like they have like the leaderboard with the celebrities. I want to do a similar thing with the cast of the boys. See who has the best knowledge of the show with these little quiz questions I've come up with. So I've called it A Train's Trivia Track. My amazing name for it. Basically, you have 1 minute to get as many of these quiz questions right. But
I said the first record. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I've got a friend called Ned who also has an Instagram account for the boys. He's called Blind Spot Memes. And I asked him to do the same quiz, so you had something. So you had a bit of competition, basically, because he's a big fan of the show as well. And in 1 minute, he got 8 out. He got 8 questions right in 1 minute, so that's the score to beat. You will still be the top of the list.
3, 2, 1, go!
What animal did the Deep try to rescue from Ocean World?
It's a dolphin.
Yep. What happens to A-Train as a result of his compound V abuse?
Heart attack.
What was Soulja Boy's team called?
Payback.
What is Black Noir allergic to?
Nuts.
What is the name of the popular soup orgy?
Popular what?
Soup orgy.
Oh, fuel gas.
Yeah. Yep. What does the Church of the Collective offer its members? What drink?
Fresh cut.
Let's go. What is Mother's Milk's first name?
Martin? No, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Who is the fastest man alive in the show?
Oh, A-Train.
A-Train. How long does Temp V last?
24 hours.
24 hours. Okay, look, that's time. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you got 8. So you're tying with Ned, and
Okay.
8 is the current score to beat for the show. So well done.
Huh,
I think you got all of those right. What I asked you. So yeah.
Well, except for one of them, which was the Martin. So his name, Mother's Milk. I don't actually know. What is it?
I think. Wait, I've got the answers here. I should know this. You said Martin. Oh, it's Marvin. But I'll give it you. You were correct. You were very
Ah,
close.
damn. Nah, you know what? It's fine. Like, if I got it wrong, I gotta be honest. Like, so what? Does
Okay,
that make
then.
it 7?
That's 7. So you were 1 below Ned, but you are currently the top scorer.
That's perfectly fair because I know the fans are dedicated to the show,
Oh yeah.
and they definitely probably know much more than me about like every page of like the actual comic and everything.
Yes. At first, I was going to take the test, but I wrote the test, so it would be pretty unfair. So yeah, well done. I hope you stay top of the list, depending if I get more actors on. Hopefully, I do.
Of course.
So yeah, I think that about wraps everything up.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me on the show. Like, listen, I'm glad people are like as gravitated to the show as they are. Like everybody there, I'll tell you right now, they fucking love what they do and they're passionate about it and they love seeing the fans react. And you know what I'm saying? Although they have to keep secrets and stuff, like they just love being able to talk to people about like the show. You know, it's not every show that you do where you're like necessarily in love with the character you play. But I know that everybody who's on the show absolutely loves, no matter what character they get, they love what they're doing because Eric makes it so much fun for them. So
yeah,
appreciate the fans.
Yeah, we definitely enjoyed it. We more than enjoy it. We definitely love the show and everything that's in it. And yeah, it definitely gives me something to do with my Instagram, doing the artwork and the animations I do. I very much enjoy it. So yeah, thank you. It's a big honor for you to come on the show and be the first guest. I've really enjoyed talking with you.
Hey, listen, man, it's a big honor being on the show and being the first guest. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited to come back here in like a year and a half and see you at like 2 mil, right? So
hopefully. Yeah. So thank you for watching the first episode of Fridays with the Boys. I hope to see you at the next one, if there is a next one, hopefully. Depending.